So I finally got to see Shin Ultraman in theaters. Here's what I think about it. Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix. My name is Chris Wong. So I've been wanting to watch Shin Ultraman ever since I saw that first picture and the trailers, but unfortunately it only came out in Japan on May 13th, and it felt like a lot of the world has already seen it. So you'll probably not see this review, but whatever. I am an Ultraman fan. I love Ultraman. I love kaijus. I love Tokusatsu. I couldn't wait to watch this. So the Hawaii International Film Festival actually had Shin Ultraman playing it this weekend, and I got to see it. Shin Ultraman is a retelling of the famous Ultraman series in 1966. In the original series, it follows the adventures of the Science Patrol, a special scientific team investigating and combating threats from aliens and kaiju. But unbeknownst to the team, the fellow member Shin Hayata possesses the ability to transform into the giant alien superhero Ultraman in moments of crisis. And in Shin Ultraman, it doesn't go to that extreme of the old orange suit and the spaceships flying around. It actually modernizes and brings it back to our own modern technology. The Science Patrol team, which is the SSSP, is actually more like the X-Files in this type of sense. They wear the business black suits, and they consist of only 4 members and a captain. And in this movie, instead of Shin Hayata, it's actually Shinji Kaminaga, who is also Ultraman. And as you may already know, Shin Ultraman is actually from the creators of Shin Godzilla. And it was kind of confusing at first because right from the get-go, right from the beginning titles, it has that swirly Ultraman intro and then goes Shin Godzilla and then all of a sudden it goes Shin Ultraman. So it's kind of like Ultra Q and then Ultraman in the original intro of the series. So I don't know if that necessarily means that Shin Godzilla is actually the prequel to Shin Ultraman, because there is one government official in there that I don't know if it's the same guy from Shin Godzilla, but kind of makes sense because Shin Ultraman kind of starts off with humanity successfully taking down kaijus one after the other, but then of course it comes to that one kaiju that it can't fight, and that's when Ultraman comes in. And for the rest of the movie, you get a sequence of at least 4 or 5 different fights between different monsters in the Ultraman lore. I almost felt like this could be an entire series because you go through the plot really quickly as you go from scene to scene, from camera angle to another camera angle. It's very much like Neon Genesis Evangelion and Shin Godzilla. And while it doesn't have all the realism and the political drama and depth of Shin Godzilla, they do add a little bit of that in, and some even hilariously, like them buying out US missiles, and then when that didn't work, they build somebody else. You know what? This movie was actually a lot more funny than I thought it was going to be. And there's a lot of have to go with the interaction between the SSSP members, including the main girl, Asami. She's pretty badass, funny, and ridiculous at the same time. I mean, what is it with her hitting butts? But really, I came here for the Ultraman fights, and the Ultraman fights were pretty awesome. Yeah, we're not going to get the high-quality Hollywood special effects. You know, to me, it's pretty acceptable for Japanese sci-fi standards. Some were kind of hilarious, though, because he flies a certain way like the original Ultraman series, but it's sometimes funny in which when he gets hit or hits something and he just spirals out of control like a toy. Or the part during the end where he's trying to fly out of something and it looks like a toy. Which is almost like they're trying to make it like the original 60s version, but they want to modernize at the same time, but at the same time they want to honor that type of special effects. It works in a comedic fashion, but sometimes it takes away from the seriousness of the situation. Each extraterrestrial alien that shows up, it's like a boss in a stage that has their own commentary for each act. And how each extraterrestrial kind of got progressively worse and successfully manipulating mankind. To the point at the end of the movie, an unexpected enemy came and says, you know what? Humankind's done. Earth needs to go, which was actually a surprising twist I never saw coming, being a fan of the Ultraman series, and I thought that worked really well. I was also quite surprised the last Zeton battle. You may or may not know, but the last bad guy in the original Ultraman series was Zeton. Well, in this one, they kind of used him a little bit differently. And at first, I didn't know how I felt about that, but I thought it was pretty cool. Shin Ultraman was an entertaining ride. It was fun. It was funny. Had loads of nostalgia from the look of it, from the sound effects and the music. If you are an Ultraman fan, I think you definitely love this movie. If you haven't seen Ultraman before, you may find this a little bit cringe and you may get a little lost. But for me, it was a grand old time and I can't wait to see this again. Alright, have you seen Shin Ultraman? What did you think? Share your thoughts in the comments down below.